All right. So what I've been doing today is just I've got my electrical equipment coming in the next couple of days, so it's all ready to pick up. But I've got to get time to get up and go and get it. But I've got one of the bays under the bus that I'm using that's going to be purely for the electrical, so the batteries and the inverters and etc. like that. So what I've done is I'll flick it around. I've just been building. So the bays normally go straight through. As you can see with that one, sort of goes straight through to the other side there. But I actually built this one, built like an enclosure, so I've just put a wall up. Still got a little bit to do on that right hand side, but basically just putting that up so I can just house my batteries and my electrical gear in a cupboard, and just keep it secure from, I guess, anything else that's rolling around inside of the storage underneath. But yeah, so that's that. Hopefully go and pick up the batteries in the next couple of days, and all the gear, and start wiring up the bus. So that's my next step, all the electrical work. So that's the fun bit. Right, exciting day today. Got picked up all the electrical equipment that I need to start wiring this bus up. So it's kind of like Christmas. Got all these presents. Got the back of the car, I've got batteries, solar controllers, heaps of stuff, heaps of goodies, DC chargers. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do today is start unwrapping it all, and yeah, it's got it all going here. This is a little cupboard that I've built for it. So this is the I guess the electrical cupboard in the bus, and just got to sit down now and work out how all that stuff's going to be laid out and positioned in there, which is exciting. Right, so batteries. These are the batteries I've gone for. They're a lithium ion 25 volt or 24 volt battery, 120 amp hours. As you can see, two terminals for each, for the positive and negative, and circuit breaker built into the battery. So, and a little LCD obviously for monitoring voltage and all that kind of stuff. The reason I've gone with a 24 volt system is obviously if I went with 12 volts, it's too low a voltage, which means I'd have to just be pulling too much current between the batteries and the wiring to the inverter, if I wanted to run some 240 volt stuff inside the bus. So having a 24 volt system means my wiring can be a little bit smaller, and I'm actually drawing less current from the batteries. So yeah, I took a bit of time thinking about that, but 24 volts I think is a better solution. And then all I'm going to be doing is I've just got a 24 to 12 volt converter, which I'll mount in here for all my 12 volt stuff inside the bus, all my lighting and my USB points and things like that. So but yeah, so I've got 4 of these, so four 120 amp hour batteries at 24 volts. So what's that, 480 amp hours at 24 volts, which if you think about a 12 volt battery, it's basically 960 amp hours of battery. So fair bit of power, but yeah, we'll get it all positioned and come back and see what it looks like after. So basically what I've got here is it's called a Lynx shunt. So that's what will actually measure my voltage and current going in and out of the battery, and that's just it's called a Lynx distributor. So basically this is like a main bus bar for the system. I actually realised I need another one of these, so I've got to go and actually get another one. But they're quite easily, they just connect together. So as you can see, take that cover off there somehow. Come on. Alright, so the black and the red, basically the covers come off and they will bolt onto, I guess, there and there, positive and negative bus bars. And then when I go and get another one of these, it'll bolt on to there and there. Basically it just gives me more devices that I can connect up to it. But yeah, looks good. Christmas in July. Right, so both my Lynx distributors are connected. My Lynx shunt is connected with a fuse in there, 300 amp fuse. Put the covers back on. And this bit of the gear is good to go. Right, so I think I've worked out the positioning of where I want all the components underneath this in this battery box section. So if I show you what I've done. Right, so take a step back. There's the box. Okay. So as you can see, the batteries are in there on the left side. I've got my inverter mounted on the wall up in the right. And this Lynx distributor and that I was talking about before, that's just going to go up across the top as high as I can go. I just don't have enough short screws at the moment to mount that to the wall, so I need to get that tomorrow. But yeah, at least if I put that in that position up the top, I've got room underneath for my cable runs and any other electrical products that I need, like the DC charger, the DC converter, what else, solar controller, things like that can go underneath it, and also next to the next to the inverter there on the wall. It's going to all fit in nice and tight, I think. But yeah, I think it'll be just enough space, and yeah, I think that'll do good. So I'll come back tomorrow and start doing some battery. I've got the cable in down here, so I've got all the wiring that I need. Just need to go and get a few lugs and eyelets, make up some cables tomorrow, and then yeah, start with batteries and those components. So all good. I'll touch base again tomorrow. Alright, so today's job, I'm just going to be making up all these battery leads, battery cables. So I've just stripped the end off one of these cables at the moment. I've put the lug on the end. I've just got to crimp it now and just put, obviously measure it and just make a whole heap of little interconnecting ones between the batteries. But we'll just crimp this one and see how this one goes. So you want to make sure it lines up with the bend of the cable, because I want it to sit straight. I need to set that to the right gauge. Alright, see how we go. what we've got now. So basically I've got that crimped nicely onto the end of that cable. Got some heat shrink, I'll go over there. But yeah, I just need to measure it now, put another one on this end, and then make up about 4 or 5 of each colour. Right, so there's my first cable done. Okay, so she fits in there beautifully. I obviously haven't crimped and put the heat shrink on yet. I'll do that now, but just as a test fit, it's nicely. So basically I need to make up 1, 2, 3 red ones and then 3 black ones for the negative, and yeah, hopefully I can just make them all that length and then they'll all fit nicely. Done those cables. I was doing those short battery cables when I spoke before, so that's what I've done. So they're fitted and they actually fit quite well. So I've just wired them in parallel, those 4 batteries. So basically what I'll do tomorrow is I've got this little switch. So basically it's my battery, I guess main power switch, which will basically sit up here like that. Just connect in there, so that'll allow me to turn power to the batteries, turn power from or to the batteries on and off if ever I'm working on it. So that'll sit there. But yeah, other than that, I've mounted those links distributors and shunt to the wall, so that's in their final position. Put some rubber matting underneath the batteries just for a bit of extra cushioning, and they're all bolted down now, so they're not moving anywhere. So anyway, that's where we are at, and I'll call it a night, go and get some dinner, and come back tomorrow and keep going with the wiring. Alright, another quick update for today. Spent most of the day, I didn't do much filming obviously of what I'd done today, but basically I was just making a lot of cables and crimping and cutting and heat shrinking and pretty boring stuff, but yeah, didn't do any filming of any of that. But where I'm up to now, I'll give you a look at the inside. So if we have a look in here now, it looks a little bit different than when I showed you the other day. So what I've done today is basically put that cable management up, started to run a few cables. So what I've got is, this is my 24 to 12 volt converter. So basically it'll take all my 24 volts from my battery system to turn it into 12 volts, so I can run all my lights and fans and other 12 volt appliances inside the bus. I've mounted the solar controller there, and I've run some wiring from that to the bus bar of the Links distributor. So basically I'm waiting to run my solar panel cabling from the roof, but what's basically going to happen is that's a disconnect switch for solar. So my solar cables will come down from the roof, plug into the top, come out the bottom, go across, go up into the solar panel ports on the solar controller. So that's sort of next when I get the panels fitted. But yeah, this switch is basically just so I can disconnect the supply from the panels if I want to. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at the moment. Again, not a hell of a lot done. I've been busy all day, but yeah, it doesn't seem like I've got a lot to show for a day's work, but it is coming along. Hitting a lot of hurdles, I guess, as I go through things, so slowly working those out. But look, generally it's pretty well. I'm happy with it. Yeah, so going to call it quits for today and come back again tomorrow and just continue. So until then. Right, so I've just been checking this isolator. One of the things I was concerned about is when you, by default, it comes in a certain, I guess, configuration of these poles. It's a 4-pole switch. But what I wanted to do was hopefully be able to get it so this leftmost pole here, or yep, lined up with the one directly underneath it, and the same with the second one, third one, and fourth one. But I think what is happening when I was reading the instructions, because they're not very clear, is it's actually crossed. So this one here lines up with this one here, and this right one here lines up with this left one here, and vice versa. So there's a lot of crossing going on inside that switch, which ideally I didn't want. And looking at the instructions, it's not very clear how to change it. I've got a heap of little connectors and contacts and things that I can change, but I'm not sure. So I'm just going to test it and just see if it is actually crossed or it's straight up and down. So I've just put some temporary wires in here into each of the 4 poles at the top and the 4 at the bottom. And I'm just going to test with my multimeter where my signals come in and out. So at the moment there's no power, or no, it's because it's actually off. So it helps if I turn it on. If I turn that on, I'll send a small signal into this top wire here on the edge. I'll see where it comes out. So it's not coming out on the wire that's directly below it. So that's just proof that I think it's crossed. So hopefully I think it's this one. Oh, the multimeter's turned off. Better start that again. That's not going to give me a signal. Righto. Continuity. Right, start again. So that first one, it's not straight up and down. Right, so there's the signal. You can hear that. So that shows me that this is crossed. So 1 on the top goes to 4 on the bottom. And I'll check the second one. So if what I think is right, the second one will go to the third one at the bottom here. So let's just check them all. There's nothing on the first, nothing on the second. Should come out here. Yeah, it does. Okay, I'll keep going across. So this third one on the top should be the second on the bottom. This one. Yep. None of those. And this top one on this edge should be the first one here on this side. So let's just check that. Yes. Okay. Alright, that's proven that it's in the configuration that I don't want. So I'm going to have to try and work out how to change it. Because yeah, that's the switch. And somewhere here, in amongst my mess, there it is. There's like a whole bag of contacts. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if I can work out if I can switch that around. I mean, I can work with it as it is, but it's just obviously not easy to follow. You'd assume it goes straight up and down, but I'll see if I can change it somehow. Right, I've just had a look at these little contacts they've put in the isolator box kit, and I think I'm out of luck, because these are for setting up parallel poles, so where the poles are connected. I don't want that either, so it looks like I'm stuck with this cross configuration on this box. Seems a bit weird to me, but I can work with it. I just have to mentally make a note that that's how the wiring goes. So basically my 2 wires from my solar panel will come in this side, and they will come out that side. So yeah, bit of a shit, but look, as long as I label it and just make sure it's clear, then we shouldn't have any issues. So, oh well, it is what it is. There's one crimp done, ferrule on the end. Just keeps the wires nice and neat together. They don't, there's no chance really of a wire moving between ports in the solar controller if they're contained within those ferrules. So that's that one done. So I've just started running some of my communication cables. So I've got a device that's called the GX. So basically it's this little device here. What it does is it I guess communicates with all the inverter, the solar controllers, the shunt, and your DC converters, etc. And it basically, I guess, controls how the system operates, and also gives you, I guess, monitoring features, because I'll connect my LCD panel to this device when I put it in the bus. So we'll be able to see on the bus how things are charging, what the battery status is, all that kind of stuff. So I've just run basically just the power cable at the moment. I still need to go and get a couple of cables which I thought came with the unit, but it appears they didn't. So just some RJ45 cables and some VE CAN connector cabling. But yeah, I can just go and buy that from the place where I got a lot of this gear from. So but yeah, I've also just finished putting the inline fuse in. So I didn't do this the other day. I put the cable straight from the battery positive up to the switch, but I didn't have the inline fuse holder and fuse at the time, so I just took it out today, just cut a piece out of the middle and just put the fuse holder in there. So that sits quite nicely. Done my wiring for the solar controller. So from the controller down underneath, comes up on the other side there and goes into the input ports of the solar controller. But yeah, on top of that obviously needs to be the input from the solar panels. So once I run them down through the bus and through the floor, I'll be able to connect them up. That's pretty much a rundown for where we're at the moment. You see the switch is back in. Yep, getting there. It's all taking time. Bit of a mess in here. I need to clean this, clean my work area up a bit, I think. But yeah, I'm going to call it quits for today and head home. And it's been raining on and off all day, so I've been working for 20 minutes, having a 20-minute break, coming back for 20 minutes, another 20-minute break, just because of the weather. So it's been a bit painful, but anyway, until next time.